What is going on, y'all? It is your boy Ollie Footy, man. What a weekend of football. Let's get to the big games, man. Madrid, Real versus Atletico. My goodness, what a game. And shout out to La Liga for always delivering on the top, main event matches. The El Clasicos, the Madrid derbies, Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. Those never fail to entertain. Even to an extent, like if you put in a Villarreal in there or a Sevilla every now and again, those are usually very entertaining games. You can't really say that for all the other leagues. The Prem, it's like 50-50 sometimes. You'll get a nice City versus Liverpool or an Arsenal versus Chelsea, but then you'll get the random, like odd, Arsenal versus City 1-1 or 1-0, or like it's just very boring football, right? So I like that La Liga is delivering for us, and if you're Madrid, you delivered. Vinny and Valverde delivered a great 3 points for you today. And yeah, let's just take a look at this game, break it down a little bit. I think for me, the major takeaway from this is that honestly, now let me switch to the main cam for this one. Mbappe and Jude and all these guys being injured might have helped Madrid. Like, it might have been the best thing they could have asked for. Is that crazy to say? Right? And obviously, you lost some games, you got out of the cup, etc. It's not necessarily a great time to be Real Madrid right now. But the resourcefulness that Arbeloa's, had to delve into with all these superstars out has made Madrid look like a really balanced team. Like they're playing like a team now, and I think when you start to fold these guys back in, you might have to think about using them differently. I hate to even say it, you might have to think about benching one of them. Maybe, prioritize balance. I don't know if that's what he's going to do, but they just look really good with the way they're using the five midfielders, really. If you count Brahim Diaz as a midfielder. And especially for Vinny and Valverde, because when you have that lineup out on the field, when you have Goulet and Brahim Diaz on the field, Vinny can just hang on the last line and wait for them to play him through. And when they play on the counter, he's just gonna have so many opportunities, right? Like they're just so inquisitive and they're ready to platform a runner always. So he makes the run, they can get him the ball there, but also if he doesn't make the run and they can dribble the ball and create space for him to receive the ball and then do something with it, right? And you think about that third goal for Madrid. I mean, Vinny gets the ball, cuts in like prime Vinny, and he had the space to do so, right? And I actually think Mbappe might have been on the pitch by that time, but like I think that's part of it. Like even the way he was using Mbappe, because Mbappe wasn't playing as a nine, he was more so hugging the right side. He was like playing right winger, and partially because Valverde ended up getting a red card right after. But like there's space for Vinny, and I think not only there's space for Vinny, but if you look at just the past few games with all of these guys out, he's rose to the occasion. Like he's risen to the occasion. He's met the moment. And yeah, man, you look at Benfica, you look at City, and now you look at today. Same with Valverde, right? Hat trick versus City. He's been scoring for fun recently. Right? I think he scored versus Elche. So like this is what you want to see from Madrid. They look like a team, man. They're running for each other, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see, and it's nice to see guys like Vinny and Valverde kind of get their mojo back. It makes Madrid more dangerous. But like I said prior, you gotta be a little bit worried when it comes to bringing in guys like Jude, bringing in guys like Mbappe, because now the way that teams defend you is going to be different, and the way the ball moves within your team is going to be different, right? I think there's also a thing to be said that when Vinny's on the pitch with this lineup, it's like, okay, you got to look for Vinny when you're on the counter. Now it's like if you had Mbappe, right, you're taking off a midfielder and you're on a counter, it's like, okay, well, maybe I pass to Vinny, maybe I pass to Mbappe. It's a little bit more indecision, right? And maybe it's tougher for defenses to defend, but it's a little bit more indecision. Maybe things break down more, right? And then you add Jude to that mix, and it's like, oh man, this is crazy, So we'll see how Arbeloa deals with that, especially with Bayern coming up. I think those guys, Jude and Mbappe would want to play 90 there, so We'll see how he deals with, you know, retweaking and retooling things so that Madrid still look this balanced with all those guys in from the start. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about this game. Madrid ended up winning 3-2. I actually want to talk about this red card first because, a lot of people, obviously Madrid fans being most people, they're a little bit upset. But I think this is not actually that crazy of a red card. Is that crazy for me to say? Like, when you're making a challenge, right? It's one thing to make the challenge like that, right? If you're coming in and running, bam, like that's okay. That's cool. If you miss the ball, it's a yellow. That's fine. But when you cock back, like when you bring it all the way back, like there's a difference between this and this, right? Like that's a big difference. So I think for Valverde's red card, yeah, it looked a little harsh, especially when he played in slow motion. But the backlift he got on it, the ref kind of had no choice. You were like, if you miss the ball, you're basically kicking him straight in the legs. Like I don't, as soft as it looked, I don't necessarily disagree that it's not a red card. Like it's definitely able to be a red. It's not unreasonable for it to be a red card. That's just my take on it. It's unfortunate for Valverde. Obviously, he also scored within the during the game, just 20 minutes before that. So hot and cold game for him, unfortunately, and now he's gonna miss some of the league games. But it's just like you got to be careful when you're challenging like that. Otherwise, when you talk about other parts of the game, one thing that really frustrated me is Atletico's just dumb individual mistakes. Just as an objective viewer, Atletico recently they've bought so much attacking talent, and it's nice to see, right? You don't have to be a low block team all the time, right? You bring in Lookman, you bring in Sorloth, Almada. Who I'm forgetting someone. Did I say Sorloth? Baena, right? Julian Alvarez. I didn't even say Julian Alvarez. Like you bring in all these guys, right? And Simeone to an extent too, right? This is great, but then you look at this lineup. That's like, man, you got to build a complete team still. And then Griezmann's still starting, which is like, Griezmann's a class player, but, you spend all that money on Sorloth, etc. Like, but, like, Koke is still coming in and week out, and it's like, man, like, you got to do better there, but particularly defense. The pen given up by Honko is just completely dumb, for lack of a better term. It's just dumb. It's, not thinking, blood rush to the head, you're challenging in your box. Like, come on, you can't be giving that up. And then that goal by Valverde was absolutely poor. Just bad decision making on so many levels. And she just had smarter defenders back there. You're in a better situation. So I think for Atleti, if you want to get to the next place, like if you want to get to where you want to be, wherever that is, like UCL winners, or just you want to be like one of the top four teams, right? Like when's the last time they've been a top four team? 2016? Like it's been a while. If you want to be in that bracket, tier one team, that's what you got to do. That's where you got to address those pain points. And when you play teams like Madrid and teams that are going to be better than Madrid, right? You're going to have more of those. And how can you expect to win games if, your defenders can't be smart with the ball, can't be smart off the ball? It's ridiculous. If just for me, it annoys me as a neutral, right? On the other hand, Madrid can be happy. I don't think Madrid was necessarily the worst team. I think they deserve the win at the end of the day. But yeah, man, I let you just self-inflicted wounds. The goals were really nice today too. Lookman had a nice, basically a whole move that he started passing it with the overlap and then receiving the cross at the end for the goal. And then Molina hit a nasty banger. My God, what a screamer. What a screamer, top left corner. And obviously Vinny scored his pen and then hit it bottom right corner after cutting in. And then that, it wasn't a full tap in, but high turnover that Valverde recovers outside of the boot into the goal, easy. So yeah, it was a really fun game, man. A really fun game, back and forth. I mean, you look at the future, you look at these two teams in the UCL. For me, I think they both get eliminated this round, as funny as that seems. But yeah, Bayern, I think, is still going to be too strong. I think for Madrid, it's going to be a big challenge. I really think it's going to be a big challenge for Arbeloa to figure out how to deal with Bayern. But for Atleti, I think Barcelona over two legs, you can't really beat that team. And I know Atleti did beat them over two legs technically, but they got very lucky, and I don't think it'll happen again. I really don't. You could argue Barcelona deserved to go over just with the chances they created. But you lose 4-0 at home, and for Barca, like you don't always deserve to go through, no, regardless. So it's tough. But yeah, man, incredible game. And yeah, I mean Madrid are back kind of in it, just kind of. I still think it's too late, and I still don't think like all of these draws and losses they're gonna regret. But there's a world. Never say never. All right, let's move on to the next big match of the day: Arsenal versus Man City. Woo! Wow, 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 wow. If there's one thing I want to say, it's that this is a major crossroads for Arsenal. You, as an Arsenal squad, if you're an Arsenal player, staff member, coach, whatever, Arteta, etc., you can either let this be the beginning of the end, or this is the point of no return where you're saying, all right, we're done losing. If we were going to lose, if we were going to choose a trophy to lose, it would be the EFL Cup anyway. This is not the end of the world. You take this, you learn from it, and you run with it to take the Premier League, to take the FA Cup, and to take the Champions League. That's what you got to do. This is a huge turning point, in my opinion. Now, obviously, they have to face City in the Prem in a few weeks, I think, right? So that's gonna be also a big turning point for them because now City knows, okay, well, yeah, we can beat Arsenal. This is huge. We could beat Arsenal, and now the next time we'll face them is at home. Like that's very like you're building so much confidence. Still, Arsenal have what, a 6 point? Well, I think it's a 9 point advantage. If City win, it goes down to six. So that's still a big amount of points to have as far as a gap. With I don't even know, there's like 8 games left or something like that. So like, it's not panic time if you're Arsenal, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, City still have a lot of work to do, and I think if you're anybody, if you ask anyone, okay, would you rather be Arsenal right now or City right now? Everybody would pick Arsenal, even if they lost this final. Okay, I think for both teams, Arsenal obviously want to win a trophy and all that, but the EFL Cup never makes or breaks a season, ever. When has that ever made or break a season? Like, it's never happened. Nobody cares. Like, with all due respect, it's a conference league qualifier, right? So, like, nobody's going to be up in arms. Just like you win or you lose, whatever. It's a little bit like the Nations League, just a little bit. A lot less significant, but, like, you don't really care that much if you win. You only care when you lose because you want to beat that team. So yeah, I think Arsenal, just do not panic. You look at this game today in particular, and there's a lot of questions for Arsenal. My main question is, where the heck is Bukayo Saka? We can talk about the goalkeeper, right? I don't think Arteta should have put Kepa in there. This is a final. Put your best guys out there. You don't necessarily have to be loyal. And it's also unfortunate for Arsenal, right? You lost Timber, you lost Eze, right? But I'm looking at my star boy who's supposed to, show up in these types of games. And he hasn't. I don't remember the last great Saka performance in a big game. I really don't. Like, when he shut everything down. Maybe it was one of the UCL group games. Maybe. He was good against PSG last year in the group phase. But in these types of games, this stage of the season, where is he at? He needs to be more present, Get him the ball, get him more touches, but even with limited, like, he has to come ask for the touches. He has to come affect the game. You know what I mean? Arsenal's not a good enough team otherwise. Gyökeres absolutely non-factor. Trossard, non-factor. Havertz, non-factor. Right? I think I can recall one big Arsenal chance, which was Havertz and Saka. Havertz had a chance to finish, and then Trafford saved it, rebounded to Saka. Saka shot it, and he got blocked. Like, where are your guys to score you the major goals, right? And Nico O'Reilly's out here outperforming Saka while defending him. Like, this is like Lamine Yamal, Nuno Mendes 2.0. It's incredible. Where is Bukayo Saka at? And yeah, let's talk about the goalkeeper too, because that cross should always be caught, or at the very least deflected for a corner. You know what I mean? Like that's terrible goalkeeping, right? But then that second goal, that's also low key on Saka, right? Saka loses Nico O'Reilly, and he's free at the back post to tap it in with his head. But like that, there's so many things went wrong for Arsenal. Havertz also total non-factor. Midfield. I mean, Cherokee was playing around with everybody today. You know what I mean? And Manchester City basically boxed Arsenal in and suffocated them for large parts of the game. And Arsenal is supposed to be the Premier League champs, right? This is the best team in England, etc., etc. You got to come with something better than that, man. You really got to come with something better than that. And, good for Arsenal that they've built up, all of this stock in the league so that they can take a few hits, right? Even if they lose two in the league, they'll be fine, I think. So this is a lot to say. A lot of rambling, a lot of venting, because from a neutral point of view, it's like Arsenal are just right there. Like just finish the job, buddy. But man, it's just you get in a game like this. This could be the spark that lights the fuse for you to take off for the rest of the season. Instead, it starts off on a bad note. And I just went on a tangent about, yeah, this is not the end. Don't hit the panic button per se, but it is still very disappointing in my opinion. On the other hand, for City, it's a nice, I think consolation. I don't think they're gonna win, the Premier League. Obviously, already out of the UCL. FA Cup game versus Liverpool, that could go either way. Even Liverpool don't look great, right? I just for City it doesn't do anything. It's like, okay, you got a trophy, you got another trophy. That's all it is. It's gonna be about the Prem, man, and we'll see how this shakes out. But Arsenal, just don't. You can't let this phase you. If Arsenal let this, this is gonna be very telling about Arsenal. This will tell you who Arsenal are if they cannot get this done, because this will be one of the greatest. You can't even call it a banter era. You're constantly competitive, but it's like the Buffalo Bills in the NFL, right? The Buffalo Bills made 4 Super Bowls. Like that's like making, I don't know, 4 Champions League finals in a row, right? For Arsenal, 4 Premier Leagues in a row and not winning it, on being second every single time. That's what it would be like. Like it's just they have it in them. They gotta have it in them, man. You gotta buckle down. You take this hit, you take it on the chin, and then you gotta move accordingly, right? You cannot let this be the final strike, fatal blow, etc. Like this cannot be it. Arsenal, like I'm almost begging them, because I feel like it's time for a new champion in England. What good? Like, let's be real. The Prem is Farmers League as far as the winners. It's always the same winner. City, right? We got Liverpool, here and there, but City, 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 right? Like for the last 10 years. Come on, man. Come on. Anywho, I'm not biased against City though. If they win it, they deserve it, because it'll be just terrible by Arsenal. And I think one other thing with Arsenal, the total lack of offensive danger that they continue to show, especially without Eze on the pitch. When Eze's not on the pitch, it's just bad, man. And obviously Martinelli and Jesus coming off the bench aren't providing much. I think Arsenal's most dangerous player, like offensively, is Madueke most of the time. I feel like the way he can beat a man and go either way, cut inside, go outside, cross, clip the ball to the back post, cross it back, cut it back. Like it's, he's very tricky winger. That's what we love to see. But they need more of that if they want to, be a dominant team. I think, obviously they dominate physically, set pieces, corners, right, free kicks. That's great, but the best teams throughout all of history have always been absolutely incredible in open play. They have, like, you want to be, if that's what you want to be, then you got to get better in that area of the field. Guys like Saka have to show up. Guys like Trossard, guys like Havertz, etc. So we'll see how this goes for them. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Again, if you were gonna lose a trophy, it'd be the EFL Cup always. But yeah, it's just rough. It's just rough for Arsenal, man. It's just rough. Let's just do a little bit of a fault mob scroll to end this video. Lille getting a last minute winner over Marseille. You know I gotta do a little bit of Ligue 1, but Ligue 1 race is very exciting this year. Genuinely, like if you love ball, you should be paying attention to this. Even, and I talked about the potential postponement for PSG Lens, which is not gonna happen as far as we know, on my other video yesterday. But this is very fun. I think there's 5 points between third and seventh, and they all gotta play each other. Monaco and Marseille play each other next week, or not next week, next match day. Lille have to face Lens, which is a big derby in France, right? You can think of it as not, I wouldn't say Manchester derby, but maybe United Liverpool in the sense of distance. Not as far as how big it is, but it's one of the most contested derbies in French football. It's always a good time. And yeah, I mean, it's very good. It's going to be interesting to see who gets this top four and maybe top three, right? Because top three, you go straight to the UCL League phase. Top four, you go straight to the third round of UCL qualifying. So you probably face a Portuguese team or a Turkish team like a Fenerbahce or Benfica. So, I mean, if you're just talking about the French coefficient, I think I would prefer to see Marseille in the fourth slot because they're actually stronger against the qualification team. So you'd get 4 French teams in, and then someone else like a Lyon or a Lille or Monaco in the third spot. But it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out, man. Lyon are on a absolute howler of form, winless in their last 5. Monaco, the hottest team in France right now, beating everybody, 6 wins in a row, I believe now, and that includes PSG on there. And then they just beat Lyon today, this morning. Great game. Tagliafico had a crazy red card in that game too. And then now Lille, last minute, Olivier Giroud, man. This guy just ages like fine wine. Fine wine, genuinely. Getting a last minute winner in the Velodrome versus Marseille. So I'm going to be paying attention to this. And I think, if you like ball, you should be paying attention to it too. On the other hand, Tottenham, man. What does Tottenham do, bro? What do they do? They're the worst team in the league. And also want to side note to Igor Tudor, who apparently lost his father today. So I feel bad for him, Rest in peace to his father. But man, it just gets worse and worse for this team. I think they're definitely getting relegated. I think when you look at Spurs, you always think for teams like Spurs, they're almost too big to fail, right? Like how they talk about banks, like being too big to fail, right? Everyone believes Spurs, big stadium, you play in London, you're the third biggest team in London, you're all of this stuff, Spider-Man's favorite team, right? And you're playing in the championship next year. Genuinely, I believe this. You look at Spurs' schedule. Take a look at Spurs' schedule, bro. They got to go to Sunderland, who just beat Newcastle today at St. James. You got to go to the Stadium of Light. Granted, Spurs are actually a better away team than they are a home team. They're one of the worst home teams in Europe. 2 wins all season. You got to go to the Stadium of Light. I still don't think you're going to win there, even though you're a better away team. Then, you host Brighton. You know you suck at home. Brighton just came off of beating Liverpool. And then Wolves, who are they're fighting relegation with you, and they're probably almost guaranteed to get relegated, but we've seen Wolves beat Liverpool, right? We've seen Wolves get some points off Arsenal. So, come on. Do you trust Spurs for any of this? And then you got to go to Villa Park, and you host Leeds, and you got to go to Stamford Bridge, and yeah, Chelsea are a hot pack of buns right now, but they're not Tottenham buns. And then you host Everton on the last day, who are fighting for Europe, potentially UCL footy. Same with Chelsea. Same with Villa. So, and Sunderland are fighting for Europe too. Yikes. You're cooked, man. I'm sorry. It's so over for them. It's just so over for them. And you know what's so hilarious? It's so hilarious when I think about a certain someone in this Tottenham squad, a certain Xavi Simons, because he's a great guy. He's a great player. But it sucks to be him, man. This guy in particular, obviously we know he came up through La Masia, left Barcelona, came to PSG, right, with Eminem, Messi, Mbappe, Neymar. Trains with us. We sell him to PSV for however much. We retain, this buyback clause. We use it, and then he comes right like in the beginning of the Luis Enrique era. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you had, foresight back then? Xavi Simons, 2023. We buy him back. He comes to us in the Luis Enrique era. Luis Enrique sits down with him. He's like, "Yeah, I'd love to have you on my team, etc., etc." And Xavi Simons says, "Yeah, but I need to be a guaranteed starter." Luis Enrique says, "No, we do not do that over here. You want to play on my team, you got to fight for your minutes, like everyone." And this is true. Everybody fights for their minutes at PSG. The guys who start there deserve to start there because they practice better or they do anything else better, right? Xavi Simons is like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. Sell me to Leipzig." Okay, we sell him to Leipzig, 60 million in the pocket. No problem. He stays, what, 2, 3 years at Leipzig, gets sold to Spurs, and now finds himself potentially playing in the championship next year. Obviously, he might get sold, who knows, in the summer. But it's like, could you imagine if you stayed at PSG? You might be a UCL winner right now. UCL winner. You might be, starting in midfield right now. Like, the amount of success, you might even be in the Ballon d'Or conversation. Like, it's crazy how careers turn. And he's still a great player. I hope the best for him. I'm not trying to hate on him. But it's just like, man, like, did you need that guarantee for game time? Could you imagine being part of PSG right now? It's just nutty. Football's nutty like that, man. But yeah, let's keep scrolling just a little bit. But Spurs are hopeless. Let's just call it what it is. Not much else. Como getting a 5-0 win over Pisa. Roma also won today. Keeps Como firm in the top four. 8 games left in Italy. They obviously got Juve and Roma on their tail, fighting for that fourth spot as well. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Roma and Inter go up next match day. Como have got a pretty, favorable schedule going into the run-in, really, and yeah, they can really secure that top four, man. And then Inter and Milan. Inter dropped points today versus Fiorentina. 6 points, it's possible. Roma's fighting for it. You know, Napoli, it's going to be a tough game, but Milan could win that game. It's anything can happen. If Inter choke this, it'll be a title race for the books for sure. Especially, the way Inter's been going throughout their season, losing to Bodo Glimt, etc. Yeah, I mean, not much else. I think Messi scored a crazy free kick today. Um, I think that was his 901st goal as Inter Miami won today over NYCFC. And yeah, man, fun day. PSV. I look at the Eredivisie results sometimes and I just kind of chuckle because it's like, man, PSV has been kind of dropping points here and there, but they're so far ahead that it doesn't matter, right? You just lost to Neck and then you just lost to Telstar today, and they're just so far ahead. It's kind of funny. But anyway, that's me just scrolling Thought Mob, man. Fun weekend of footy. Very excited for the international break. I will be going actually to Colombia versus France next week. So maybe I'll have some video of that. But yeah, until next time, man, it's been your boy, Ollie Footy. We